क्या आप IAS की तैयारी कर रहे हैं और कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स को 2.5 लाख तक की फीस नहीं पे करना चाहते? अगर हाँ, तो 22,500 रुपए में घर बैठ के StudyIQ के पेनड्राइव कोर्स के साथ आप IAS की तैयारी कर सकते हैं। आज ही विजिट करें studyIQ.com।
Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. In this lecture, we will be discussing about the MSP hike for Rabi crops. Recently, the government has approved an increase in the minimum support prices for Rabi crops, and we will analyze this issue in this lecture. First of all, let us analyze what is the current affair. The government has recently approved an increase in the MSP offered for Rabi crops. So, here a few terms are important. We will see. In India, we have mainly 3 cropping seasons. One is the Kharif season, the second one is the Rabi season, and the third one is the Zaid season. Here, the government has approved an increase in the MSP offered for Rabi season. So, what is Rabi season and what are Rabi crops? Rabi season is the agricultural season where sowing is done during the winter and harvesting is done during the spring. And the important Rabi crops are wheat, barley, oats, peas, mustard, sunflower, sesame, cumin, etc. Now, the government has increased the MSP. What is MSP? It is the minimum support price. The minimum support price is announced by the government before the sowing season. What is the reason for announcement of MSP? It is to protect the interests of the farmers and also to ensure food security in the economy. So, under the MSP, a minimum support price will be announced by the government. It means a price will be announced by the government at which the government will make the procurement from the farmers. So, through the MSP, the farmers are guaranteed a minimum price for their produce. So, this will provide an income security to the farmers, and this is announced even before the sowing season. And what is the intention? This is to ensure adequate supply of food commodities in the market. For example, in the previous year, if suppose the prices of wheat was very less in the market, so this year farmers will not produce much wheat because last year the prices were not remunerative. So what will happen? If the production goes down this year, the demand will be more than the supply, or the supply will come down, and therefore the price will increase. There will be food inflation in the economy, and the consumers will suffer due to food inflation, especially the poor consumers. So, in order to avoid a situation of food inflation, adequate supply must be ensured in the market. Along with adequate and affordable food in the market, that is food security, the interest of the farmers also needs to be protected. How can the government protect the interest of farmers? It is by providing remunerative prices for the produce of the farmers. So these two are the main goals of announcing MSP. And now what is the current affair? The government has increased the MSP rates of the Rabi crops. Earlier we have seen the Kharif crops also. The government had increased the MSP. The MSP cost was set as 1.5 times the production cost. So now for the Rabi crops also government has increased, and this lecture we will analyze this issue in detail. Now let us see how is price fixation done. Earlier the price or the MSP was determined by the CACP. CACP is the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. And how did the CACP would determine the prices earlier? Along with the cost of production, various other factors were also considered. These factors were: 1. The supply and demand situation of the concerned commodity. The supply and demand. The supply and the demand forces are the determinants of market price of a commodity. When the supply is more, what will happen to the prices? The prices will fall. And when the demand is more, what will happen? The prices will increase. So, these are the determinants of market price. So, CACP considered the demand and supply factors while estimating the MSP along with the cost production. And what are the other factors that were considered? Second one was the market price trends. This included the market price trends at the global market as well as in the domestic market. And here it is not just the market price, but it is the trend. It means the previous year prices were considered. So what is the trend of prices of a particular commodity over a past few years? So that was considered by the CACP while estimating the MSP. Third one was the implications for the consumers. Under the implications, factors like the inflation rate, the environmental impact, etc. were considered. And fourthly, the CACP also considered the terms of trade between the agriculture and non-agriculture sectors. It means if those crops can be used as a raw material or intermediary in non-agricultural sector. So that was also considered by the CACP. And these four factors along with the cost of production or cost of cultivation was used by the CACP in estimating the MSP. But this is the earlier case. Now the MSP estimation has changed. Let us see how is MSP estimated in the recent times. From the Union Budget 2018-19, the MSP estimation has changed. Since then, the government has accepted the Swaminathan formula for fixing minimum support price of food grains. And according to the Swaminathan formula, it must be at least 1.5 times the estimated production cost. And how is this production cost calculated? There are three ways of calculating production cost under the Swaminathan formula. Let us see them. The first one is called A2. Under A2, all the paid out cost is considered. Paid out cost means those costs which are directly incurred by the farmer in the form of cash. It can be the cost of purchasing seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, the labor charges of the farmer, the land rent, the irrigation charges, the fuel charges, etc. So the direct cost that was incurred by the farmer comes under the first category, that is A2. Now let us look at the second category, that is A2 plus FL. So under the second category, A2 is included. That means the paid out cost or the direct cost incurred by the farmer is included, and along with that additionally what more is included? The value of unpaid family labor is included. In many of the cases, the majority of the workers will be from the family itself and they will not be paid any wages. So the cost or the value of the family labor will also be included in the second type of calculation, that is A2 plus FL. And third category is the C2. C2 is a more comprehensive cost, and under C2, A2 is included, FL is included, and in addition to A2 and FL, a few more things are included. What are they? One is the rentals. Second one is the interest, if in case the farmer cultivates in his own land. Now in A2 we have seen that rent is included, but what rent is included? If the farmer is cultivating on some other person's land and the cost or the rent is directly given by the farmer, because we have seen under paid out cost, the cost that is directly incurred by the farmer is included. So if in case the farmer cultivates in his own land, his own property, the estimated value of rentals and also the interest is included under the third category, that is C2. So this is the Swaminathan formula. Now later in this lecture we will discuss which method is used by the government in fixing the Rabi MSP. But now let us come back to CACP, Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. We have seen that earlier it was the complete responsibility of the CACP to determine the MSP on the basis of the following factors. Now the government is applying the Swaminathan formula. And what is the purpose of CACP now? Now the CACP's job is to estimate the production cost of the crops based on Swaminathan formula. So production cost is estimated by the CACP only. Now also it is the CACP, but the CACP will have to apply the Swaminathan formula, and then CACP will recommend to the government the MSP on the basis of estimating production cost at the Swaminathan formula and multiplying it with 1.5. So applying the Swaminathan formula, CACP will come up with the production cost, multiply it with 1.5 and then arrives at the MSP which is recommended to the union government. So if a question comes, who determines the MSP? It is the CACP. But it is just that the role of CACP has come down. Swaminathan formula is being applied these days. Now let us look into the details of the recent decision of the government. What was the recent decision? In order to increase the MSP for Rabi crops. We have seen that under the Swaminathan formula there are three types of cost estimation. The first one is A2, second one is A2 plus FL, third one is C2. So, which one is applied in the recent decision? In the recent decision, the government has adopted the second one, that is A2 plus FL. That means the cost incurred by the farmer directly on expenses like rentals, labor charges, pesticides, fertilizers, seeds, fuel, etc. plus the family labor charges or the value of family labor. So A2 plus FL has been adopted in the recent decision. Now the MSP for Rabi crops has been adopted on an all India average of A2 plus FL and it is announced for 6 crops. The crops are wheat, barley, chana, masoor, mustard and safflower. And according to the new formula, that is the Swaminathan formula, the projected increase in the cost for 2018-19 over the last year's Rabi, it is from 1.8% to 7.2%. 1.8 in case of barley, 7.2 in case of chana. And according to the new formula, the claim of the government is that the farmers would be getting a price at least 150% above the production cost. That is 1.5 times the production cost, and the intention of the government is to double the farmers' income in the long run. Now we have seen already the government has increased the MSP for Kharif crops, and now for the Rabi crops also government has increased the MSP. Is this MSP hike just enough to support the farmers? No, government has to do something more in order to support the farmers of the country. By merely increasing the MSP doesn't mean that the returns for the farmers increases, because in India the farming sector has multiple stress points or different issues. So what has to be done? First one, at the ground level procurement, the government should ensure that farmers get the MSP. Many a times the farmers does not get the MSP even if the government announces the MSP. So measures should be taken in order to ensure that farmers are provided with the minimum support price. And along with the MSP, government should also provide for price deficiency scheme. What is meant by price deficiency scheme? Sometimes what happens is that the market price would be lesser than the MSP. So what will happen? The farmers will incur a loss. So in order to help the farmers, the government pays the difference between the MSP and the market price. So that is the price differential of MSP and market price, and that is known as price deficiency scheme. Under the price deficiency scheme, there is no direct procurement from the farmers, but what does the government do? Under price deficiency scheme, the difference between MSP and the market price is paid to the farmer via bank accounts of the farmer. So this is to ensure that farmers get remunerative prices for their crops. Price deficiency scheme is useful when the market price falls. And what is private procurement plan? Under this, the private player can procure crops at MSP when the market prices drop below the MSP. So private players can procure from the farmers at the MSP that is announced by the government, and this is also applicable when the market prices are lesser than the MSP. And the private players will incur a loss when they procure at MSP when the market prices are less. And in order to compensate this loss, the government will provide compensation to the private players. So what is the advantage for the government here? The government does not need to procure it. The private players will procure it, and instead government will provide the compensation. So government can cut short the administrative cost or procurement cost You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page. Thank you.
क्या आप IAS की तैयारी कर रहे हैं और कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स को 2.5 लाख तक की फीस नहीं पे करना चाहते? अगर हाँ, तो 22,500 रुपए में घर बैठ के StudyIQ के पेन ड्राइव कोर्स के साथ आप IAS की तैयारी कर सकते हैं। आज ही विजिट करें StudyIQ.com।